Hi, I'm Lisa Haisha. Welcome to the Legacy interviews. Today I have Emmanuel Kelly, who I just met a couple of weeks ago, and he performed at the Legacy Gala. He just knocked on my door through a mutual friend, and he came in and we hung out for a few hours and fell in love. And now he's here, and I'm so excited to introduce him because he is someone who is going to be changing the world, one person at a time, with his music, with his heart, and just all around good guy. So welcome, Emmanuel.
Thank you, madam. No, thank you. I'm not Indian.
Yeah, it's so hard to do the opening with you sitting here making faces. But I did it.
Yes. Success.
Yes,
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. It's really
good.
great because you're sitting here, and I'm so excited to introduce you to everybody.
I'm excited too.
Yes.
Awesome.
So
really
who
cool.
is Emmanuel Kelly?
Who is Emmanuel? Do you want to know the full story from the start, or do we shorten it? Because we could be here for we could be here for a few years.
Yeah, just basically your story. I know they could get a lot of information of you online. So just
a snapshot.
A snapshot in the beginning, and then we'll dig deeper.
Yeah, cool. So my story originally is I was found in Iraq in a box in a park, where it was a time of war, and it was a tough period of those years. And I was fortunately, however, found by Mother Teresa nuns and taken to an orphanage. And during the time I was found, it was actually the Gulf War. But I was taken to the orphanage where I was raised there for 7 years of my life. And during those years, I experienced a lot of different things, sounds and noises that myself and also my brother, who actually isn't my biological brother, but I call him my brother because I believe that sometimes blood is not as strong as someone's love for someone else.
Of course.
And so, we were raised there for 7 years of our lives. He was already in the orphanage. And during this time, we heard noises. We did things that a lot of children and shouldn't experience and see. But at the same time, at that time, we also changed children's diapers and fed them and things like that, because my brother and I were the only mentally abled ones in the orphanage. And so it was a tough period, but at the same time, we didn't know any better.
So just to back up a little, you were found in a box, a shoebox in the park.
In a park.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know how long you were there for?
No. I would assume and guess, like everyone else, that it was a few days, probably. It was just enough, but I was found barely breathing and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So, I was lucky to be alive, essentially. But, I believe that a lot of people around the world have far worse stories than that. I think, it might be a tough start to life, but, it very quickly changed.
And then when you were at the orphanage, you were saying you heard sounds and saw things that other people shouldn't have seen. Can you give me an example?
Yeah, bombs, shootings, and etc. A lot of memories that I probably don't want to share as well. But it was mostly bombs and
but
gunshots.
But inside the orphanage, you felt safe with the people who were working there, the Mother Teresa nuns?
At times, yes. At times, no. I used music as a salvation, as something that, made me think of other things and took me to a world of peace and a world of happiness. So at times I felt safe, but not always, no.
Okay, so music really helped you.
Huge.
And that's why you're a musician today, and a singer today.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's amazing. So from your journey there, you met someone, an angel, who walked through the door.
I did.
Yes, share that a little bit.
Yeah, no, her name was Moira Kelly. She had heard of us when she was in Iraq, and a nun had gone up to her and she said, Moira, there's these two boys that need your help. And Mum says, well, sister, where are they? She told them they were in Baghdad. So she eventually made the trip to Baghdad and met with my brother and I. And I remember for about 3 days, we had known that she was coming. And for those 3 days, we sat at the window waiting every day for 3 days. And on the third day, she arrived. And when she arrived, that was an extraordinary moment, because we looked outside the window and we saw her get out of the car, and we looked at each other and we believed that was her. And I remember she was wearing a white dress, she had blue eyes, blonde hair, and we thought three things. Number one, how did this white woman get into this country? Like, seriously, she's white, she's really white. And then the second thing was, who is this incredible woman, and can she help us? And the third thing was, is she an angel? Because she looked like one, to us. And she came in, she took us out for the day, and that evening my brother said to Mum, can you take Emmanuel and I? And Mum turned around and said, or Moira turned around and said, I don't know, but I'll try my best. And he goes, well, if you can't take both of us, take Emmanuel and then come back for me another time. And so I guess that shows that our bond was so strong that it was far stronger than blood in itself. And so eventually it took 2 years, we came to Australia, and again, we had a huge culture change. Another story and another journey began there.
What did you need help with? Why did someone say 2 boys need you?
We needed help with limbs,
Limbs,
so my brother had 2 very deformed, I guess you could say, or very limbs that were bent the wrong way, his legs and things like that. So he needed the removal of those limbs and get prosthetics. And myself, I needed my own things as well. So, so we came to Australia for surgery originally. And eventually we learned how to walk, learn English, how to feed ourselves, dress ourselves. My brother drives a car now, so all the things that a lot of people take for granted, we had to learn. And we did, but we had to do it at 7 or 8 years old, so all the firsts for us were in Australia. There was a lot of firsts in Australia for us. And so it was incredible. But at the same time, we also, in Iraq, women have no rights and it's a huge culture change, put it that way. So being raised by a woman, it was something completely different. It was just, a huge culture change for us. And we learned very quickly that in Australia, women run the country, not men.
Love that.
And my mum knocked that into us pretty quickly, and it was beautiful. It was an incredible atmosphere that I grew up with. I grew up with a number of children in the orphanage who, in Australia, who also had their own stories. Children from Palestine, Israel in the same house. Children from Iraq, children from Albania, Italy. Vietnam. Philippines.
How did you feel? Did you love that? Constantly new energy?
Yeah, it was new energy, new experiences, new cultures, but we found a way to live with one another. We found a way to love one another. And actually, it was funny, the countries that are fighting now, the countries that are in war now, these children came and met each other, and at first, for probably about the first week, they hated each other, but by the end of the trip, they were best friends. If not, they were more best friends than a Palestinian and a Filipino, or an Iraqi and an Australian. So it was incredible how these bonds were just built, because they realised they're no different to anyone else. They're exactly the same. We're all equal. We're all special. We're all beautiful. And the more we fight, the more we forget the beautiful qualities about mankind. And so these kids started realizing it, and these kids were 10, 15, 20-year-olds in some cases, so it was incredible how these friendships were just created. It was lifelong friendships, and these children are still talking to each other through Facebook, so
wonderful.
It's incredible.
So she created a whole community kind of by default, not probably anticipating that, but bringing all these cultures in her home.
She just believes when you're helping people, there shouldn't be any politics, and there's no religion, there's no politics. It's just doing something right, one act of kindness. And her act of kindness was helping these children and giving them a second chance at life. And them making friendships and making relationships was a bonus. So it was awesome. It was super cool.
So how do you stay inspired every day? Because you sang at my event, the Legacy Gala, and you inspired so many people, and you were on the X Factor, and I saw the reaction there. And how do you stay happy, positive,
I don't know.
and wanting to make such change in the world through your music and who you are?
I mean, my mum probably has a huge part in that. The way she raised my brother and I probably is a huge part of where we are now and how we are and how we think. Her influence, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's in my DNA as well to just be happy and. You know, I have my dark days. I've had days where I've cried or I've looked at the mirror and I didn't like the person I saw. You know, I've had those days. I think everyone does.
What do you do when that happens?
I remember that regardless of the situation, there's someone worse off than me. There's always someone worse off. Regardless of where you are, what you're doing, there is always someone that is experiencing something worse in that moment. And I think the more you realize that, or in some, you know, and those that are experiencing those worst moments, all I can say is remember that there is also someone else that's probably experiencing the same exact thing. Always. And so I don't know, I guess I remember that.
Yeah.
And I...
But do you do anything for anyone who's watching this? Do you do anything like, okay, I'm going through something tough today. I'm down, I'm feeling negative or whatever. What do you do to get out of the funk or to shift?
I go out and find someone random when I'm on the street and probably just tell them that they're beautiful or tell them that they're cool or just say g'day, just to get some energy from them, you know, some happy energy. I think even if it's the most oppressed person on the street, I think if you go up to them and say, hey mate, good on you, or hey mate, well done, or hey mate, how are you? They look back at you and they'll have a smile at you and say, hey, and that's energy coming back from you, you know, from them to you.
Yes.
And it boosts you up because you've done something nice for someone.
Have you ever felt like you don't even want to get out of bed?
Yeah.
And just, another day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you do in those situations? Do you meditate? Do you read anything? Do you
I listen to music. I don't know, I just get up. I have hope, I guess. The reason why we all wake up every morning is because of hope.
Yes.
And I just think to myself, as much as I don't want to get up today, I have the hope that I'm going to help someone or I'm going to do something or I'm going to achieve something for my personal gain as well that's going to make me happy, because there's nothing wrong with that. I think remembering that whatever you do in life, you have to have an honest intention with it. Whether, you know, if it's making money, it's making money. It doesn't matter. But as long as you're honest about wanting to make money,
yes,
as long as you're honest about wanting to become famous, you know, because there are people that want to become famous and there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as you're honest about it, then you'll often find that getting out of bed is going to be a lot easier and you're going to attract a lot of people that are going to help you do that.
You certainly do that.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, people are saying, I want to help, I want to help.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, I love music and I love, and I have a motivation, and how do I get that motivation? I grew up in a house where there's children that have gone back to Iraq and to Palestine and to these countries. Yeah, they have a second chance at life, at living, and to them that's extraordinary. But I guess I do what I do for them in a way. I do it because I want them to realize that they've inspired me. They've motivated me. At the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, how do you
really
live each day? What's your week? Do you have goals set out? Because I know you want fame, right? You want to be a musician and fame.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you want to do with that fame?
My goal with that fame is to attract other people that are in the same industry. and open their minds, because we all, whether we realize it or not, we all get stuck in these little bubbles.
We do. Absolutely.
You know, and it's not just, you know, the Selena Gomez's or the Justin Bieber's, or, you know, I have the utmost respect for these people because they've achieved an enormous amount of success in such an enormous amount of time, and that's all hard work. You know, a lot of people would look at that and say, "Oh, that was luck." No, there's a lot of hard work in that.
A lot.
But we forget sometimes that it was hard work, and we forget that sometimes we're in our little bubbles. We're so happy in those little bubbles that we don't realize that there's a world out there that need our help. And we have a responsibility as people that are famous, as people that have power, as people that have success, to hand that down. You know, whether it's starting up a fund, or where 10% or a percent of that profit goes to the next person. You know, whether it's you just creating awareness, it doesn't matter. But my dream is to inspire and motivate them to do their own little act of kindness every day. And I'm sure they do it, but to do it on a world stage is another story.
To help inspire more people to do it. Absolutely.
And people, you know, people might ridicule it at first and say, "Oh, you know, they're just doing that as a marketing campaign or whatever it is." But you know what? As long as you know why you're doing it, and as long as you, in your heart, feel right about why you're doing it, then it doesn't matter what other people think. And eventually, you'll spread that message. And by you loving what you're doing and not worrying about what other people think, that's actually going to pass on. That energy is going to pass on to others, and it's going to pass on to people. And people will eventually see the genuineness in your face. They'll see the genuineness in your heart of what you're doing, and they'll feel inspired, and they'll feel loved, and they'll feel hope, and they'll feel like they'll love themselves. And if everyone loves themselves, then they'll give that back to the next person. Because at present, what we're doing to the world is we're not happy with who we are. Whether we realize it or not, subconsciously we're not happy with who we are. And up until 6 months ago, I wasn't happy with who I am. I wasn't comfortable. I wouldn't even wear my shirt above my arms, you know, because I was not comfortable with who I am.
What shifted?
I was talking about, you know, every time I would be in an interview or every time I would sing, I would spread this message that you know, be comfortable and be who you are and love yourself. But yet I would put my hand in my pocket and keep it there for the whole song. And I realized, hang on a minute, I'm a hypocrite doing this because I'm talking about it, but yet I'm not doing it. So I said, you know what? Stuff it. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to be free. Because up until today, I didn't love myself, and now I do. And the more I love myself, the more I can love others.
Absolutely.
And the more
you
give.
accept yourself. If you don't accept yourself, you're not going to love yourself.
Exactly.
That's impossible. So what was the shift that day that you said, I'm going to love myself deeper today, or I'm going to love myself unconditionally today? What snapped?
I don't think
6 months ago, wasn't that long ago.
No, I don't think it was a snap. I think it was just learning. It was just me learning.
Was there something that happened, that you saw something, or did someone say something to you and you said, oh my God?
No, no one said something. I did an interview and I did a 500k bike ride, which is about 300 or 400 miles, a 400 mile bike ride in 4 days. And I realized that I'm doing this bike ride not for me, for others, but at the same time, I'm also doing it for me, because I realized that if I achieve this, I can achieve anything. And I did this interview and a performance on Live Nation, you know, with millions of people watching in Australia, and I did it to promote this bike ride. And I think the day I did it, I realized I don't have a jacket. I'm actually wearing a shirt, and I'm not going to be able to get a jacket in time. So I hopped on this interview and I kind of didn't have a choice. I went on and I just said, stuff it. You know what? this is obviously meant to be. And so I just went with it. And up until that day, I've just felt comfortable with who I am. And still I struggle, don't get me wrong. I still struggle because I'm like any other 21-year-old guy. I go on dates or I go and meet girls and I do that sort of stuff. And I still hide. I still get shy. And I'm still getting into that process because it was only 6 months ago. So I'm still getting into that process where I just got to feel comfortable with who I am. But I know that when I'm in an interview, I have to love myself, and I know that in life I have to love myself. But it's a challenge. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you guys how to do it. I can't tell you guys what the motivation is to do it or tell you how to do it. All I can say is just do what you do, and as long as you love what you do and you're honest about what you do and
Yes.
you're honest about who you want to be. And a lot of people realize it, but a lot of people don't. Subconsciously, they don't even know that they're in that situation until someone points it out.
Absolutely. And then they have to feel it themselves. And it's not an easy thing because you could, oh, I'm happy with myself because this happened. And the next
Yeah.
day you're back to, oh, I'm me again.
Yeah.
You know, especially with celebrities when I work with them,
Yeah.
they're on a high because of a movie. And then they quickly, you know, what's my next thing?
Yeah.
If they don't get anything or,
Yeah.
oh, I gained 5 pounds or whatever's happening,
Yeah.
then they stop loving themselves. So
Yeah,
I think you're a great
absolutely.
message for that of,
Yeah, I mean, in that 6-month period, I also went through a stage. So 6 months ago, I also went through a stage where I didn't eat. I didn't because I thought I had to be, thin and whatever. Now I eat everything. Like I'm just like, you know what, stuff it. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna just be myself, be who I am.
Yeah.
But the only difference is, I'm gonna do it healthy. I'm gonna do it so I feel good. And so a lot of people, again, with weight and with all that sort of stuff, be who you are, eat whatever you want, but there's a key to that, in moderation. It's like, go and drink, it's go and have fun, go and date girls, go and date guys, go and do what normal people do, because it is normal, it's a part of life.
Yes.
And the more we ridicule it, the more we judge it, the more people start to realize, oh, and they start to hide, and then they start to create these little gangs or little cults or and there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but they start judging and
Because it makes them feel good and it makes them feel superior.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But everyone, those that are extremely religious, I say this to you, God says not to judge. In the Bible, in every religion, there is statements in there that says you shouldn't judge your neighbor and you should love your neighbor.
Yes, love
Right?
is the biggest thing.
Love your
Yes,
neighbor.
love,
To
love,
those
love.
that aren't religious, to those that aren't, that don't believe in that and believe that they're atheists, there's no such thing as atheism. They believe in something. Whether they believe in themselves, they believe in the earth, everyone believes in something. And I say to you that you guys believe in strong energy. You guys believe. And with energy comes strength. With strength comes love. With love comes hope. Right? And so start giving that to others. Start giving that to others. It's as simple as that. Love is, we all want peace. We all want all these things, right? But the key to peace isn't to go and do peace projects, isn't to go and do peace campaigns, isn't to go off and write a song and say how this politician is bad or this politician is bad or this person is doing a bad thing. Because again, you're creating a segregation. Mm-hmm. You're creating a segregated community. For those that want to start an equality campaign, don't go out there and just create a forum for African Americans or for Arabs or for
Women.
Because again, for women.
Yeah, that's
because
huge.
again, you're creating a segregated forum. Right? You're creating an unequal forum by trying to create equality.
Yes. Yes.
Go out there and create a forum for everyone. Go out there.
Which is what your mom's doing.
Go
Moira
out
Kelly.
exactly. Go
Yes.
out there and create a forum for others to just be themselves and to love one another. And try and create a forum where you actually promote the qualities of peace. Not peace itself, but the qualities of peace. And once you create those qualities, then peace will just come on its own.
Oh, amen to that. I believe that. If everyone just finds self-love and peace within,
Yeah.
there'll be peace.
And don't forget to have fun.
Yeah.
And be who you
Laughter. So important.
Laugh.
So what do you
Date.
want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be just a normal young guy who doesn't want change, but instead wants happiness, wants love, wants peace eventually. You know,
Is
I
that
want my
possible?
legacy. I think with love comes hope, with hope comes peace. I think if you believe it's possible, then heck yeah, it's possible. Hell yeah, it's possible. Like, seriously, man. But
Don't you think there always has to be dark to the light?
look, it's gonna be that way, regardless. But the more you believe that,
Yeah.
the more that's gonna happen. But the more you believe that, no, I'm gonna put peace, then you may not give the whole world peace, or you may not give the whole world hope. But what you can do is you can give your people, your family, your loved ones, your friends hope. And if you can do that, then they'll pass it to their kids, and their kids will pass it to their kids, and their kids will pass it to their kids. And maybe in 1,000 years, we may be living in a very peaceful world. But who am I to know? I would have lived, I would have lived, I would have gone to parties, I would have enjoyed myself, I would have done the things that people should do, love, date, make love, do all those things. I would have done all those things, and I'd be gone and I'd be dead. But one thing I know, when I'm dead and when I'm gone, I want to leave a legacy that I did something, and I didn't just sit there and do nothing. I tried, and I went out there and just spread love and hope and happiness.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank
Yes.
you.
That was
Thank
wonderful. And that's who you are, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
The short amount of time I've known you, for probably 2 weeks, whoever you meet says, oh my God, I feel I
Thank
have to
you.
do more. I've got to do this.
You know what? I just have one message for everyone.
What's
And that's every day, go out and just give one smile to one person, or one hug to one person, or say something beautiful about someone. And I'm starting it right now. Lisa, you look absolutely beautiful, and thank you for being in my life.
And I'll say, thank you, Emmanuel.
And now
Your
you
heart
pass that to someone
touches
else.
my heart so
Thank
deeply, and I know who's ever listening to this is going to be moved and shifted forever.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time out to come here and do the interview.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Hug it out.
All right.
Thank you.